Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves. And today I want to talk to you about Grieg. I've done a lot of talking about Grieg in this channel, considering, how much he wrote. But I think he's such a wonderful composer. He gets shat on, frankly, as a romantic nationalist because he didn't write much music in large forms. That wasn't his thing. He was essentially a miniaturist. But who cares? What matters is how good the music is. And his music is good because he came up with tunes. He was a tunesmith, one of the great nationalist tunesmiths. And Norway had some great tunes, let's not forget. And in addition to that, as an orchestral composer in his incidental music and other things, he was completely uninhibited because it was theatrical music. I mean, thank God he didn't keep writing symphonies or even concertos. I mean, the piano concerto is magnificent. He wrote one. He quit while he was ahead. That was very smart because in his normative orchestral music, like Peer Gynt and the things like that, he was totally modern in his handling of the orchestra. In other words, it had lots of percussion and color and harps and stuff. And he wasn't some sort of strange provincial conservative. Not a bit. He was completely original, and it's so wonderful. And I'm talking about particularly the Peer Gynt suites, but this whole album I adore. And it may surprise you, as some of these do, because there are all the Norwegian people who do Grieg, and they're the complete Peer Gynts, and just, when I start waving my hands around, that there's just lots and lots and lots of it, and lots of it is marvelous. But my favorite Grieg record, frankly, is this one on Hänssler. It's the Holberg suite, the Two Elegic Melodies, Peer Gynt, orchestrations of two lyric pieces, Evening in the Mountains and At the Cradle, played by Neville Marriner and the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields. Is that a shocker? Are you stunned? Well, because Neville Marriner, well, let me tell you something. First of all, the sonics here are gorgeous. It's such a beautiful sounding recording, number one. Number two, Marriner did some of this music, like the Holberg suite, like 50 times. He knew it as well as any human being could. The Academy of St. Martin in the Fields was an extraordinarily well-trained chamber orchestra. Marriner could be very cool and kind of uninteresting. We know, very sort of workmanlike. But for some reason, he just cuts loose here. He really does. He really gets his temperature rising. I think the great sonics help, of course, and the playing is 100% committed. It's just a beautiful, beautiful Grieg album. I mean, I adore the Holberg suite, don't you? I mean, and it's perfect. It's played like every day now on classical radio here in New York. It's so irritating. Every time I turn on the radio, we're either in the middle of it or they're saying, oh, we're going to play next hour Grieg's Holberg suite. And I'm just like, oh, not again. But, the truth with Grieg is that he doesn't get old. He doesn't get old because the melodies are so fresh. They're so repeatable. And so, get tired of listening to it. And I think the Holberg suite is one of the most magnificent works for string orchestra written in the entire 19th century. Remember, it's also a piano piece, the original anyway, and it's just gorgeous. And this performance is stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And then the two Peer Gynt suites. I've talked about them endlessly, haven't I? And I feel almost guilty bringing them up again because I just love them so much. Everybody loves them so much. You can't not love the Peer Gynt suites. And the first one is the subject of my How to Listen to Great Music series, the first 5 talks. And if you haven't heard that series, the How to Listen to Great Music series, I do urge you to do it, especially if you're a beginner or you're interested in, some tips on what to listen for. I think the Peer Gynt suite is just extraordinary. Both of them, I think the whole score is one of the, handful, and I mean, top 3 or 4 or 5 great incidental music scores that anybody ever wrote, but the suites are wonderful, and again, and also perennially fresh and just delicious. And these other pieces, the elegiac melodies and the lyric pieces, they're lovely little encores and bonuses. So, you know, I just chuck this into the car. I have it on my iPod. Whenever I'm just in the mood to relax and enjoy some wonderful music that reminds me how great the classics really are, because it never gets old. Even some of the really heavy duty classics get old if you play them too many times. This stuff doesn't. It doesn't. It makes me feel good about the universe and humanity. And we all want that, don't we? So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy your Grieg. Take care.